Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ballin with Bill here at Sideline Power. I have a special guest today that's quite a person, quite a human being, and he's our Omaha Beef coach, Marvin Jones. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I appreciate you coming out and spending the time during your season. Tell me how you got started in football, Coach.
Wow, I've been playing. I started football a long time ago when I was 7 years old and played all through Pee Wee and middle school, high school. Played, at the best university, Florida State University, and was a fourth pick, first round draft choice out of Florida State in '93, and played 11 years with the Jets. And pretty much after I got out of playing football, I've been around the game, coaching the game, and different levels, and some developmental leagues, mostly high school, and I ended up with Omaha Beef and been here 3 years now.
That's awesome. I've seen you coach. You do a nice job out there with those guys.
Thank you.
So tell me, where'd you play high school ball at?
Well, I went to Miami Northwestern,
Okay.
Which is one of the best high schools in Miami. A lot of famous players come out of there, and of course myself, and guys like Tony Bridgewater, and we have some pretty big name guys, first round draft choice that have came out of there. So we have a long history.
Yeah, I know they do. So why did you choose Florida? You say it's special, but why did you choose Florida State? Because I'm sure Miami tried to get you in Florida and Alabama probably. So why did you end up choosing Florida State?
Well, during that time, Coach Ballin had a long history of being at Florida State. When I came out in 1990, Florida had a first-year coach that year with Steve Spurrier, and Miami had just hired a new coach, Dennis Erickson.
That's right.
And I had already been familiar with Florida State. My older brother played there from '83 to '86, so I used to go up and visit him a lot and got an opportunity to see the coaches and the town, and just kind of fell in love with all the people there. So
That's neat. What was it like playing for Coach Bowden?
oh man, it was awesome. I always tell my players today that one of the best experiences I've taken for football is not the game itself, but it's all the life lessons and a lot of the one-on-one conversation with Coach Bowden, a lot of his pregame stuff, a lot of his night before, speeches and stuff like that. I think those are the things that motivate you as a player, but not only that, but shape you as a person. So I think those really made an impact on my life, and as well as a lot of my teammates.
Yeah, I think people that I've met around the country in time with about Coach Bowden, he ranks right up there as one of the best of all time as far as handling the players, dealing with them. I think he's kind of like what Tom was here to Nebraska, and I think they were always good friends too, competing against each other. But I think he's a gentleman and a scholar and a good man.
Yeah, yeah. You can be all those things. I mean, he's a great guy. I mean, he was always like a father figure to the guys.
That's what, yeah.
Very charismatic, but but hey, you got to keep the wins.
Any good stories on Coach Bowden?
I would say one year we decided that we were going to boycott mat drills, which is the all-season conditioning.
I remember doing those.
And my oldest, I mean, they were so hard, even during my brother's tenure there, those guys, they would run themselves into the wall so they could knock themselves out, so they didn't have to do them. So, we decided we were going to boycott them, and Coach Bowden, we had a team meeting, he says, hey, well, listen, here's what I'm going to do. He says, I'll play with 25 freshmen if I have to. So, boycott was over in about 30 minutes. So, but we call him the old man. So whatever the old man says, that's what goes. And he, obviously he carries a lot of influence there. So I mean, we were just fortunate enough to have a coach like him. I mean, he was, the stability for the program, obviously, and what he meant to people's family. He didn't just know the player; he got to know the family.
Oh wow, good man.
Yeah.
So what was it like when you first went towards the draft and the combine and all that stuff? What was that like for you?
Well, the combine, I just flew out there and got measured and left.
Feel like cattle, don't you?
Yeah, I had
Run you through cattle.
I had my own combine, individual combine.
Did you at Florida State?
Back home in Miami, and it was a lot more comfortable for me, a lot more the environment, a lot less pressure.
Right.
And but I mean, that's kind of what I want. I want to do things on my own term, and at that time, when you're in the top 10 picks, most likely you can do that. So,
Right.
So I didn't want to go to, you have to be somewhere comfortable. A lot of the combine is just the pressure there.
Oh, I know, because everybody's there and
Right.
from every team and all that stuff.
Right. So a lot of guys just don't perform there,
Yeah.
perform well there. But I mean, it was a hectic time because, this is something I worked for my whole life. And,
Right.
Now all of a sudden it's either you make it or you die, in a sense,
Right.
You either going to be comfortable or you flipping burgers. You know what I mean? It's not that flipping burgers is a bad thing, but football is just one of those, sports is just one of those things where it takes a long time for you to reap the benefits. I
Right.
mean, you play through, like I said, you play through Pee Wee, you play through middle school, high school, being unpaid, you go to college, they say they pay you with your education, okay. But, but,
Right.
and then all of a sudden, as a 20-year-old kid, that's when I had my opportunity. I was young. I left school early, so
Okay.
it's like a do or die thing.
Right.
I mean, wherever you never make that. Like I always tell people, you never make the money back. You know what I mean? If you get drafted in the second round, you lose a lot of money. If you're not drafted in the first round, all of those little slots and everything means a lot.
Right.
I mean, you never make that money back. So,
Right.
So it's just important that you have a great showing. Most of it's going to be your personality, what they think about you as a person.
Yeah.
I mean, do I want to pay this guy?
Yeah. And you fit in the organization and all that stuff. True.
Right. It comes down to, do I want to pay this guy? Do it, and that makes a difference.
Right.
So
That's great. That's great. So you're drafted by the Jets. Who was the head coach at that time?
oh man, let me see. I have so many. Well, my first head coach was Bruce Cosley in
Okay.
'93.
Bruce.
So I had. It was a tough period. I mean, I wasn't used to losing, coming from a winning program, and all of a sudden, you go to an NFL team and you're 500. I'm used to. I wasn't used to that, so I
Right.
was used to always, being in the spotlight, being in contention. So it was a different turn. But then all of a sudden, I mean, it gets so diluted because of the business aspect of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what separates. You have to be able to deal with the business side of the game. Not take everything personal. It's all business.
Right.
It's not
Once you
personal.
get there, it's not like college, is it?
There's no person. There's nothing that's personal. And that's the way you have to approach it. Every decision that is made, whether you play on Sundays or you sit, or whether you're a first down player defensively, third down player, all of that stuff it's all business. So, and that's just the way you have to approach it. And that's what you got to. That's what makes the difference with how players progress and how you separate that.
That's kind of cool. That's good to know. That's interesting. I mean, I know you think it's that way, but you don't realize for somebody's played as long as you did. Take my hat off to you. It's not easy to do.
Well, it's like any other business. I mean, you got people that just look at the bottom line.
Right. Yeah.
They don't see nothing else.
Your accountant's pretty much most of the time.
Right. Bottom line. So
Bottom line.
football is just like that. I mean, all decisions are based upon money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for instance, if a guy's drafted in the first round, he's guaranteed to be on that team for 5 years.
Right.
Whether he's performed great, bad, or however, because they're committed.
Because of the investment they put in.
Investment they put there.
Yeah.
And you can have a guy that's better. That's a free agent. Well, they got to play the guy over there because they're paying him. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
I mean, and plus you don't want to look stupid drafting a guy, and he got a free agent playing over a guy you're paying $1 million to. So,
It's true. That's true. Don't look very well economically, does
right.
it?
So that's why you always got to keep it. If you keep it business, I mean, you'll last long and you won't be as frustrated about things. Because a lot of times people take things personal. Playing time. I'm a great player, and why am I not getting this or why am I not getting that? And you have to understand, it's just all business, man. It's once you get past that, you can flourish.
Right. So now, how many head coaches did you play for the Jets?
My first 3 years, I had 3 head coaches: Coslip, Carroll, Kotite. Then I had Bill Parcells, Al Groh, Bill Belichick for a day.
That's right. I remember that.
And then Herm Edwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What was it like playing for Bill? And when Bill was your D coordinator when Parcell was
yeah, Belichick. No, it was awesome. I mean, greatest minds. I mean, this guy. Belichick really taught me football. I mean, he taught Bill Parcells wanted you to learn football from a coach's perspective rather than a player. he wanted you to think like a coach. He taught you how to think like a coach. You know, situations, managing the game. As a player, we were all able to manage games. That's why if you probably look at a lot of his teams, or even the New England Patriots, they know how to manage the games.
Right.
And you know, it not only, you know, helps you with your performance, but it also, you know, it just helps you be able to help other players.
Right.
Because, you know, when guys come in, I mean, when you know how the coach thinks, man, it's easy, because that's who the guys going to have the most influence, is the guys in the locker room.
Right.
So, you know, this is Bill's way. That's kind of how Bill Parcells was, you know. Everybody always say that's not what Bill liked, but Bill will tell you, hey, go talk to this guy. You know, and he tell you talk to that guy for a specific reason, because that guy played for him before.
Right.
He's going to tell you exactly how Bill Parcells is and how Bill Parcells wants it.
Right.
It's simple as that. You don't want Bill didn't want to have those conversations with you. Hey, go talk to Pepper Johnson.
Yeah, Pepper was with him for a long time. Yeah.
Yep.
So was Belichick this kind of the same way too, or?
Belichick's I mean, he's
'Cause he seems like he
has kind of a laid back personality, but he's very like intense in everything he does. Meaning that you know, he's a competitor. I mean, it does not matter to the little detail. If it takes him 2 days to get something done, he's going to do every inch and try to get every advantage that he can get. I mean, if you're playing against somebody, I mean, there were guys I played against in college. I mean, he'd come over and he'd have an hour conversation and ask him questions about the guy. You know, what was his biggest thing in college? How did he think? And I said, well, the biggest thing with this guy is he can't think. This guy was always getting confused. So, you know, then bam, you know, you go run some games over there, some stunts around him, you know, stuff like that. So
yeah.
he's going to look for every advantage, and a lot of coaches don't do that.
Yeah.
In ways, because a lot of people just overthink this game.
Right. It's still blocking and tackling, isn't it?
Instead of using the resources, and the best resources I found usually is the players.
Right.
You know, I've had guys played on other teams. Who you think I want to talk to? Hey, man, tell me what's going on. You played that offense? Give me the, you know, tell me how what makes it work.
Right.
So, and that's one of the things that I find as a coach, I think that has really helped me along the way a lot.
Gotcha. Those are two of the best coaches, you know, when you look at the history of the NFL.
Absolutely, without a doubt. They earned their respect.
Yeah, they did. Was Grohl the same type, because he's from the same system? Was he the same?
Yeah, Grohl's more intense. I mean, he's more old school. Kind of direct, simple, cut and dry.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a linebacker coach. I mean, he was my linebacker coach first, but I mean, I love how he was as a linebacker coach, because he just told you what you needed to know.
Right.
Nothing else. This is what you need to know. Don't worry about nothing else. So it allowed you as a player to go out and play as hard as you can and not think, because you know, he gave you, you know, we worked on percentages. We worked on percentages with him. You know, if they run this play 90% of the time, we're not playing at the 10%. We don't care about the 10%. Play the 90%. So,
right.
So that's kind of how he thought. But I mean, I enjoyed playing for him. I mean, he was intense, man. His practices was probably the toughest I've practiced in all my years practicing for him. So.
Gotcha. I bet. I mean, Pete Carroll's done great too after he left. I mean, he's done has had a heck of a career coaching too. So.
Oh yeah, Pete.
You're around some very good coaches.
Well, yeah, Pete knew how to. One of the things with Pete is he's a players coach. Players loved him, and I think that's where his niche is. And you know, I think that's kind of what hurt him a little bit with the Jets, is having those type of relationships.
Gotcha.
Especially during that time period, you know, in the '90s, they didn't see that kind of stuff. It was so separated because, you know, the players were always just thought of as players. I mean, you think during that time he came, you know, '93. I mean, we get free agency. Players finally won something where they can go from team to team.
Right.
You know, so that changed a lot of the dynamics, and the people became more open about it, because that's how you're gonna. That's being a player's coach is how you recruit.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to play for you. Everybody wants to follow you from team to team.
Right.
And he was able to do that.
Yeah, I think he did well at college by doing that, and then he did very, very well at Seattle by doing that too.
USC.
Yeah,
well at USC.
Yes, he did. USC hadn't been the same since he's left.
Yeah, that's absolutely. They probably never will be.
So I'm going to take a break here, and we'll do a commercial, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about your coaching career.
All right.
Thank you.
my red wine playlist.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Ballville. We'll kind of move on now here. Marvin, I mean, with all your coaches, you've been, to me, in my mind, been around some of the greatest coaches in the history of the game. How did that help you when you started to decide to do this as your career?
Well, I was playing football. Once I left out of the NFL, I never wanted to coach. I was like, man.
Oh, really? Okay.
I didn't want to get into coaching.
Okay.
Because I know how it was dealing with me.
I don't know. Okay.
You always reap what you sow. So you always, I was a rough player to deal with, and I was like, man, if I got some guys like me, I probably have to strangle them. But I kind of started out in high schools. I mean, down in Florida, I was living down in Fort Myers. I did 3 years of that, and that was very challenging. It's the parents.
Oh yeah, high school you got to deal with the parents. You're right. Yes.
So I got in and out of that, and wanted no parts of that. And after I did that, I went and joined a developmental league. Did 2 years of that, one up in New York and Hudson Valley and Brooklyn. That was the FXFL. The linebacker coach and defense coordinator doing that. And,
Gotcha.
What else? I kind of got into indoor football out in Colorado back in 2017 as a defensive coordinator, and I became interim head. That's how this thing's been happening for me. I get in, everywhere I've been, I come in as defensive coordinator, and then I end up being the head coach by the end of the season. So
the head coach not show up, or what happens?
I don't know, man. I work.
I know.
I put the work in,
Yeah.
It's very, on this level, it's a lot of time it's hard to find that kind of background, people that just really put the time in. Because most of the guys that's doing this are,
right,
part-time, got another job and stuff like that. But I kind of devote a lot of time to this, so I'm really intense with this. So I have to have people that work like I work.
Right.
I mean, I want you working.
Right.
I don't play with this. So this is actually my second full year as a head coach, where I was the head coach from day one. So
Yeah.
So this is my team. I was able to mold it the way I want to. Right now, I mean, we got our butts beat the other night, but played a veteran team. That they're able. This coach is very good. He's been around a while. He's able to bring those same guys back and back. Whereas on my end, I try to develop my players and move them up. I don't want career players on my team. I want to help these guys out, become better players than they were, and I've been able to move a few guys up. Had a player last year that signed with BC Lions in the CFL. So for me, that's what it's
What you're
about.
trying to do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it hurts you on one end as a coach because you do that. If you build a dynasty, you probably keep your job longer. Mm-hmm. But that's not what it's for me. If I got my goal is to move guys, get guys in, help them move up. So and win at the same time. You know, so but I mean, you can do both, but you know, in this game, it's a specialized game. Pro indoor football is a specialized game. And everybody can't play it. So I mean, you're on a 50-yard field. I mean, it's a different game. Speed,
Yeah.
you know, some guys just don't adjust to it. So.
Yeah. What's the biggest? I mean, when you look at your career, I mean, what's the biggest adjustment from 11-man to 8-man? This type of 8-man that you guys do in indoor,
Well,
from being 11-man.
well, the biggest is size of rosters.
Yeah, that's true. 'Cause what 25 is your limit,
You
right?
got 25, and you got 21 game day, 10 offense, 10 defense, and 1 kicker. So I mean, 8 on the field at a time. So you don't, you know, then you're talking special teams, and I mean, it's you know, you really only have 2 extra guys. And those times, either defensive lineman and and a DB. So I mean, but those guys on the field all the time. So that's what makes it difficult. I mean, you get 1 or 2 injuries, you know, it makes for a rough ride where you may have have to bring a wide receiver over to play DB or DB over the wide receiver. You know, so I mean that's the tough part. Is how you manage your roster, how you build your roster, being able to have those guys that can play more than one position.
Gotcha. That's probably really important.
That's key.
Yeah. So, when you played did you take anything from those guys that you coached with to be your own kind? And your personality as a coach.
Yeah, I'm very.
The hard work sounds like something that's what they did.
I'm tough. I am tough. I'm tough. I think you got to be tough as a coach. I think you have to put things out how you want them, how you want people how to be received. I think I've earned my due.
Yeah.
So I'm able to. These guys have to understand that when they come play for me. I mean, I've been down this road. I played where you want to go.
Right.
So if anybody can help you, it's me.
Right.
But I'm going to show you the correct way to do things. I'm going to make you work out. You're going to have to watch film. You're going to practice hard. You're going to do all the things possible to put yourself in position. Doesn't mean you're going to have success.
Right.
But you have a higher percentage if you try to do the right things and you do the basic things. You cannot, the biggest thing is these guys have certain habits that they come with from college or the reason they didn't, make it in the first place. Maybe they study habits. Maybe they didn't watch film. And that's what I try to teach them, that's what you got to overcome. Don't keep doing the same stuff. You're going to get the same results. So let's come do some different things. Let me help you and see if we can move you up. If we can't, commit 2 years to it. If you can't make it in 2 years, then you know what? I suggest most guys go live a normal life.
Right. Yeah, because you can't do it 2-3 years.
That window closes, man. You got
because there's always new guys coming up.
You got new guys, especially in this year was a crazy year because you had a lot of schools, the seniors, you had juniors that were getting ready to go in and play, and all of a sudden the seniors are allowed to stay another year.
I know it.
So
that is a weird year for college. And has it affected you guys at all with trying to get players out or not?
Well, I mean, there's always players that want to play our game. It's a specialized game, but I think it's kind of helped in some ways. It hasn't hurt us, but I think what it is that you have the ways to move up are becoming less and less. I mean, you had no combine. You had guys that didn't have a pro day, so they have to find a way to get film and what's the better way than to get game? I mean, get game film. I mean, a lot of this stuff matters. I mean, our game is based on the CFL game. I mean, we have a lot of D1 guys that have been in NFL camps, CFL camps. I mean, so there's a cross section of every particular level that are indoors. So you're gonna get good competition. So I think this year is probably one of the bigger years for competition this year because of the pandemic situation. Guys just don't. It's just ways now of being able to move up. It's just diminishing.
Right, and they're still younger coming up too. That's what time still goes forward. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it moves. I mean, it moves, but the guys just gotta. I mean, football is obviously a very popular sport, but the thing is just anything outside of being in the NFL or revenue sharing is just very hard to sustain. Especially a lot of these places that we play in, a lot of these teams. I mean, fortunately, the Omaha Beef has been, is the oldest indoor team, been around 22 years.
Right.
I mean, that's quite a feat.
Yeah.
For a lot of these teams, just because people, it's trendy.
Right.
People go, they don't go. I mean, you continue. I mean, it's expensive. I mean, you got payrolls, you got housing, you got food. I mean, you got arena costs. I mean, travel. I mean, it's not easy. You
Right.
know? So a lot of these teams, they have a good year, and I mean, you can imagine what a year like last year with no fans could do to a sport like that. But amazingly, most of our teams survived.
That's good. That's good. That's good. So now, biggest question I wanted to ask you is defensively. This is set for offense. So, and you're DC and have a great career on defense. So, how do you defense this with this game the way it is and stuff? Because it's made to score points because it's a fans game. It's trendy, yeah.
Well, I was fortunate my first year at Omaha in 2019 that we were in the I think we were second in points allowed. I mean, there was some games we shut people out for halves.
That's impressive.
Some of your good teams, they usually scoring 60, 70 points. I mean, we, shut them down, some of them in their 20s and 30s and 40 points. So, and that's what wins games. I mean, we were predicated on that. I think it's because I did a lot of things differently that people not used to seeing. I always try to do things that differently than what's the norm. Help. And plus, at the same time, I want to put my guys in position to make plays and in position to help their careers by showcasing everything that they can do, on film and different types of coverages. So I play a lot of the stuff that people play outdoors, because I want these guys to be able to showcase their abilities.
Gotcha.
Same coverage you play outdoors. I just mix them up a little bit.
Gotcha.
Do it a little different.
Because a lot of times you just see teams that are in man all the time.
Yeah, I don't play man all the time.
Yeah, I think, well,
if you're gonna
that would be hard with everybody crossing and do that all the time.
Well, if you're going to move up in this league, you have to. My thing is, I want to feature guys. I want them to be able to play zone. I want them to be able to play man. I want to play all those different things. So I want to, it's like an audition. I tell these guys it's like an audition. Every time you go out there on the field, I'm trying to feature your abilities. I mean, you have to be able to play both.
Right.
But every zone is man anyway, because eventually,
eventually he comes into your area, it's going to be man.
Right. I mean, you cover three as a quarterback, you get a go route, that's man.
Yeah, you're right. You better stay with him.
so, I mean, but I try to do everything I can to put my players in the best position for them to look good and to showcase their skills. That's where it goes for me.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know because I've been out to your games now. Your defense is always solid. I mean, and you've done a nice job, and a lot of the credit to the teaching and stuff that you do as a coach.
Well, that's because I'm, like I said, I'm hard nosed, man. On defense, you got to be hard nosed.
Belichick, you did that for Bill a little bit.
My guys got to know, man. When they're in a meeting with me, they know what's coming. I mean, I'm tough on them, and I tell them. I mean, the expectations go up. I mean, you be paying now for not as much money.
Yeah.
You go up, somebody start paying you $50,000. $100,000. They're gonna be in your butt.
Yeah.
The expectation is different. So I treat them the same way. I gotta tell them, I had a meeting yesterday and I said, look, if you can't take constructive criticism, you need to just get up and get out now. Because it gets worse.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I mean,
higher level you go, it gets worse, doesn't it? Yeah.
It gets worse. The scrutiny. I mean, I played in the biggest market in the world in New York City.
Yeah.
For the Jets, and and trust me, you're gonna get killed in a meeting. You can't. You just
whether you're a Giant or a Jet, right?
Well, the Giants don't get killed. They hate the Jets.
I've heard that.
The media's very biased against the Jets, so. But it really taught me a lot of lessons not to have thin skin. Taught me how to cope with people and deal with people and how to ignore stuff. I mean, that's and that's one of the biggest things people have to do. People have to be able to tune out the noise, and a lot of young guys, they can't do it because they're so influenced by, why I didn't get this or why I didn't get that. People ask me all the time, they say, oh, well, you're not in the College Hall of Fame? I said, I don't care. I don't care. I said, why am I basing my abilities on some people that probably never played and don't know me and are biased in their views?
Right.
So whether I got it or not, if you know what, it's great if I got it because, hey, great. But I don't care. That's somebody else's. They're judging somebody on that, what standard they use.
Right.
If you go, I tell people, if you just go by football, if you're gonna really judge football players by football, then it's an easy thing about, well, this is what a guy's done. This is
Right.
it's not that hard.
No, you agree. I agree.
Getting into people's personalities and how they feel about you. You know, I mean, guess what? You got people from all over this country, right? If you go back when I played in the '90s, TV was very divided. You know, you had, Florida State had their own Jefferson Pilot Network back then.
Nebraska had theirs too, yeah.
Had theirs. So you know what? Somebody from California didn't watch me play.
That's true.
So they're not going to vote for me.
Because your games were always on later. I mean, earlier. Yeah.
But they're not going to vote for you because they don't know you.
No.
It's just like being in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
People, I deserve to be in the Pro Bowl. I didn't make the Pro Bowl. Well, guess what? You got fans voting. Fans going to vote for their favorite player.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
So I'm basing how I feel off of that.
Right. You're right.
Man, you know what? The best thing you can do, the best lesson I tell my guys is just, you know what? Just do the best you can.
Right.
And the chips going to fall.
Look in the mirror.
They going to fall where they be. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah.
Whether you do something about it or not, it's going to happen. It's going to be an end game to it. So
That's some Parcells always said, man in the mirror. Look at the man. That's what matters the most.
well, it's hard sometimes, for people to do that. I mean, I've had to do that many times.
Yeah. Same here.
I've had to jump on my knees and pray.
Yep.
And many a time, come to Jesus.
Yeah.
But that's what sustains. That's what I tell my guys. I laugh and joke and talk a lot of crap with them. But at the end of the day, I'm a praying man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a praying man. I know where to go and get my strength. I don't listen to people. I don't listen to people down here on this earth. Barely watch the news. I don't.
Yeah. News can get you all mixed up anymore.
I don't get caught up in all that stuff,
Yeah,
man.
me
I try to
either.
live in my bubble, enjoy my players, and do what I do every day, and that's all you got to focus on. Focus on people that I tell my players all the time. I care more about you as a man than I do about a football player any day, and I can respect my. If you can't do it, just come tell me you can't do it, and we move past it. I don't judge my guys, I just tell them I love them and I want the best for you.
Yeah. You watch all that social media and all that stuff today, it can be quite confusing. It's best sometimes not even to look at them, especially if you're still playing.
And people actually believe this.
I know it.
That's the hard part. I mean, our society's just changed so much.
Oh, it's so
many
big difference
ways.
because I kind of,
It's
same as you.
swayed big time. To me, I always tell people if something's the truth don't need any help. Just tell it. It stands on its
Good
own.
point. Yeah.
When I gotta watch this news and this news and this news, and I get 3 different versions of the story, then that's a lie.
It's the same story, but it did come. Yeah, it's like, well,
Them ain't facts. People get facts mixed up.
yeah, they do.
People think you're entitled to your own facts.
Yeah, I know it. That's what it sure seems like when you watch it.
No, you're not entitled to anything. You're just entitled, man. Everything here is just temporary.
Yeah.
You just using it along the way.
Yeah. That's why sometimes stay in that bubble and just keep moving is the best way to go.
That's all you can do, man. You ain't enough hours in the day to worry about everything in this
No.
world, what's going on. Best thing you can do, best thing to do is love the people that love you.
Yeah.
And try to live a good life. I don't mean you ain't gonna make mistakes along the way, but try to learn from them and keep moving. That's all you can do, man. Most people can't help themselves.
That's true.
I mean,
That's true.
I just keep a strong spirit, man. That's what continues to move me and move me through these players and be able to change their lives and things like that.
That's an important thing because I know most of them are trying to get a second chance, and that's what they're there for.
Most of them, a lot of them. I probably out of 25 guys, I probably have 3 or 4 that probably could get a chance, But it's just going to depend on them, like I tell them, every time. Because I'm very strict on how I handle things. I always tell them, you gonna throw it away over that? You guys want to argue? You want to fight? You want to, So you always got to try to, poke them. Like, hey man, come on. Come on, because you gotta remember, football is its own world.
It is. It is.
And it ain't everybody's world.
No.
So that world, once you develop a certain reputation in it, you're done. It's like once you ever become known, even in high school, you become known as a lazy player.
Oh, that's
It follows you all the way.
Yeah, because they talk about it when you go to college and all that. Yes.
You always go back to that. So.
Right.
that's one of the things I tell people. You have to try to change those things. If people feel whatever you didn't do well, let's do them better now.
Right.
You know, it's easier for me to sell a guy that was one way, say 3 years ago, and he's changed that way. That's what they want to see. They want to see progress. They want to see change. You know, and that's the reason why a lot of guys they get the big money. A lot of guys don't.
Yep.
They feel like you're gonna throw it away.
Yeah.
You won't get it. You know, they just won't.
Yeah.
You know, it's unfortunate, but you know, but that's just how it is in this sport. Football is just very controlled, man, and it's a privilege to play this sport. It ain't your right. It's not your right. It's a privilege to play this game. I love this game.
Played it and I love it too. I know Mark
love
did
it.
too. And
I love it, and I always will. You know, and I try to tell my players, you gotta love football. You can't like it.
no, I agree.
Like it, you won't last.
No,
You gotta love this game, man.
Yeah.
I love everything about it. Film, practice, you know, just strategizing and
the camaraderie. That's the thing I miss the most. Is the camaraderie with the coaches and players.
Oh yeah. That's a big part of it. That's where all your memories at. I mean, I can go back years, man. All the players on my team and all the fun. I mean, we talk about it all the time. A lot of us are still friends. We still communicate and stuff. So
Yeah, I know. It's hard to beat all that camaraderie and you miss it.
nah, you can't. I mean, you know, because you meet so many different individuals along the way, man. And you always got the crazy ones. You always, you know, them the ones. You know, I mean, so you meet so many different personalities, man.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, it's just like you get this whole cross section in football, man. You know, so I love the game for that. I mean, you know, the camaraderie, the coaching. I mean, just all the stupid stuff we used to do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
making millions of bucks playing a kids game.
Yeah.
That was the crazy part. Like, man, when I got my first check, I was like, y'all gonna pay me all this to do this? It's easy.
This is something you love to do,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is easy. This is easy. Wow. You know, but then you know, and then I got the real check, and it was like, wow, whoa, who's this? This is New York State. Who's this FICA guy? Hey, you don't call him the accountant, the comptroller up there. Something's wrong with this check. They said I was supposed to have $3 million, man. I got 1.2. Something ain't right here. That's the stuff they don't tell you.
Yeah, oh yeah. New York's
FICA and Medicare and all them other people biting you in the butt.
Yeah.
You know, that was the crazy part. That's one of the things I never forget about playing in New York. Taking all my
Oh
money.
God, that in California.
Taking all my money.
Yeah, them in California both are.
I think I was paying. I think I was somewhere up about 53%, man.
Holy cow.
You had at that time 39 federal, and I think New York City was another 13 or something like that. And then you have all these other stuff people don't realize. You go different states have that tax on those days. They call it job tax. So if I go to California, I got to pay the taxes for that day. If I play, we played in Jersey. So if we played in Buffalo, I got to pay the taxes for that day. So there's a bunch of states you pay taxes for that day. You don't even have to play. If you're in the stadium, you got to pay that tax.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Wow.
Called the
Government's going to get theirs, aren't they?
Called the job tax. Doesn't matter. It kills baseball players.
Yeah. Because they got 100. What do they play? 160 games?
Right. You go to all those different states. It tax you that you got to pay for that day.
Wow.
When you in the stadium? See, I got smart. Because one year I was hurt. And we go to play in Buffalo. And it was like, you going there? I was like, man, I need to stay and get treatment. See, I learned.
Stay back in the doctor.
Save myself about $13,000 for the day.
By staying and getting extra treatment. That was smart. You picked up on that.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about that. I remember us reading that one time. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's brutal. I mean, you're still making. Still doesn't matter. I mean, even if all the taxes and all that stuff, you're still making more than the average person. So
Right. Oh yeah.
Just be thankful and thankful for your blessings and
Move forward. Yeah.
you're able to make a great life and just just be thankful. Just be thankful, man. That's the biggest thing. Appreciate everything. The sport has allowed me to do to help my kids, my family, and give to others, and charity wise and helping people in the community and stuff. So that's what it's about for me. At my age, man, I don't. That stuff's that stuff don't mean nothing to me. I tell these kids, now my son, daddy, we need one of those fast cars they call them, that real expensive thing. I forget the car. It's like $1 million. The car. Dad, we need one of those. I'm like, son, listen to me. I had all these cars, son, before you were born. I don't want them again. It's the biggest waste of money. So I had a great athlete for the son. I'll be looking for him too, Marvin Jones Jr.
Okay, he will.
He goes to Plantation down in Broward, a school called American Heritage. He's going to be a senior this year. He's rated in the top 15 players in the country.
Wow.
Defensive end.
Where's he looking at going?
He can go anywhere. He's got Texas A&M, Alabama. I mean, he's got 50 to 60 D1 offers right now. Big kid, 16 years old, 6'6", 245.
Holy cow! Holy that's a big man. Wow.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
So.
Well, wish him good luck from us.
I will. I thank you. I thank you very much. It's been a great morning, actually.
Well, appreciate you coming out today, Marvin.
Yeah, anytime, man. Anytime.
You know, as a pro wrestler, right?
Yeah, you look like one.
Well, we finish up with the old hush hush. I used to do that. We used to run out and chase people, and I'd hush hush and have some food and money. That's what it meant. So we finished the show up with that. So I'm going to finish it up and hush, hush, hush. Thank you very much, Marvin. Appreciate you coming out today, Coach.
Thank you for having me.